Evening all, welcome back to Poop Gleba. This is my name for the planet now. It needs like a pseudonym like Seach Tabar. If you know what I'm talking about there, you'll get it. But I think poop is a good word to describe this place due to the incessant amount of spoilage. But there we go. So today we're going to look at the base. This has been a labour of love, I can tell you. And I quite like actually what I've created here, and I dare I say it, I'm actually kind of getting a bit fond of Gleba. But let's go around and look at what we've done. So obviously first thing you notice as we walk through this beautiful converted planet is that you have basically a pretty interesting defensive wall. Needs improvement because I think we need to put basically rocket turrets and railguns here. We've done this over here because we keep getting attacked by pentapods, and we'll just augment this design. So everything you do, you should always try and just have a simple copy paste insert into the wall, so you don't have to redo it all, because otherwise it's just a nightmare. So step one, well, cell one is a farm, nice and simple. It needs a bit of work though, because I don't think it's quite right with its routing. You can see here it's all a bit spazzy. We have over here carbon fiber, so let's just walk through. So every machine you see is numbered. See that? 04, we have 01, 02, etc. There's a reason for that, because I'm actually going to put sensors on them so that actually I know which one has stopped working. Let me give you a facilitated, curated tour of this. So nutrient machine, this is the nutrient machine, self-cleaning, self-filtering. In theory, as long as it has a regular supply of bioflux, you should be peachy. It feeds then nutrients into this and this, so you see this loop here, that's basically where it's going. And this one is just producing your matto mash or whatever it's called. This is then sent into here, so we have a carbon train delivering carbon, we'll look at that in a minute. And then quite simply again, nutrient loop, it's a wonder. And then we have our carbon fiber. And what I'm doing here, again another nutrient loop, is we have a mantra, as we've spoken about before, that you basically store everything you need and destroy everything you don't. This just means everything shouldn't ever back up, because if you suddenly have all of the carbon fiber back up, the machines stop and then things start to spoil. Now it can self-filter, but it's just easier not to do that. So there we go. So that's our carbon fiber so far, running for hours, literally hours. I made a concrete warehouse cell. Here it's quite cool. So we have within the peripheries a number of rock stations. As you can see, they're running low. Not a lot of rock on Gleba. You have to look around for it. But we have effectively our sort of rock station, and that is then being powered through to here. So we have two rock trains, and they're obviously making bricks. We then have obviously iron being delivered, which then creates our concrete. And then we have reinforced concrete as well. So it's quite nice. I quite like that design. I'm pretty impressed with this. And you'll notice I've left the original Gleba Wild in here, because again, some of the cells will have this. This is again a design choice. So we've put concrete around all the important things like the railway and the tracks. But sometimes and we put foundations in for the machines, but not always are we going to have that. So there we go. Power is a big issue here. So I spoke last time about one of the disastrous things that stopped the nutrient loop. It was power. So with the brownout, this thing basically, do not press. I mean, that's pretty subtle, right? If this switches off, it causes the nutrient loops to basically freeze, or rather go bad. So this is something that I thought, well, you could run it entirely from fusion power because we're making enough of it, but I've decided to put basically another power source in, and it's just basically a good old heat source, burner tower, and we're burning fuel cells because we make so many of them so quickly it just felt right. We may change this to be everything, so it might be excessive spoilage, but we don't actually have a lot of spoilage to burn. So weirdly enough, this has become quite good. I don't like the colour. Purple is not. That is a full Goron colour. We need to put a Gleban colour in there. Fusion reactor, obviously do not press. I was going to do a bit of a live experiment with this, and maybe we'll end on that. So let's go to the central base. Now this I'm rather proud of. This took an awful lot of time while watching my partner was watching something. If you've ever heard of it, go and have a look for it. It's called Uncanny. It's a BBC One sort of light entertainment show about ghosts and UFOs. I know it sounds terrible, doesn't it? It is terrible, but it's also very compelling. So if you have access to BBC One or BBC World, go and have a look. Pretty interesting. But yeah, I just literally was like wanting to kick the telly at some points with some of the things people were claiming as poltergeist activity, and it's like, dude, you literally live in an old house. You live in a house that was around before America existed. No, even before that. You live in a house that is probably 2,000 years old. Well, maybe not. Yeah, no, literally 2,000, because some of them are like ex-Roman things. So it just made me so mad that I wanted to kick my telly in. But we've decided to create a very sort of fetching landing pad. Obviously, we have not a lot coming in there. This I'm quite proud of. So we have all of our kind of logistics storage basically going into the rockets. Over engineered the rockets. No way do we need anywhere close to that. We have our little warning gauges here, so again I can at a glance just see if we're running low on anything, but as you can see we've got, you know, an abundance of things. And then here we have basically a very simple mall. Not sure it's filtered very well, so don't quote me on this, but this needs sort of rearranging so that it's a bit more beautiful. We have our bot base. Needs a bit of work, but this is where our bots will live. And then we have the beginnings of a new version of the quality machine. You may remember the quality machine if you didn't, go watch the video. But this is basically what I'm trying to build now, is a way to sort of do quality. It's not particularly effective at the moment, but I'm quite pleased because I've started to get some of the things come through. So I'm happy with that. So let's just keep going. So we have our iron. So iron is pretty standard. I think we showed this last time, but if I didn't, let me just quickly recap. Nutrient machine, we then have our iron bacteria. That then sits in a buffer, and it basically turns into iron. We have filters only to pull finished iron, if that's the word. And then we basically process it and smelt it into iron ore. Anything extra is destroyed. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? It feels so wrong, sort of destroying all of these resources. We do have obviously burner towers still. We're probably going to look at removing these at some point. Blue chips, nice and clean. Obviously a little bit of flair, quite like that. We then have, what do we have here? So I think this is fuel production. So I'm surprised actually how good fuel cell production is. It's pretty rapid. So far as well, the machines, the filtering, you know, the spoilage filtering machines are working really well. Like, I'm genuinely surprised actually how well they are managing the burden here. And then we have a little kind of stage gate here to say, well, look, if there's enough cells in the system, then carry them through to a sort of mini burner point here, which again, I didn't realize, but it makes fuel cells so quickly, it's just like always on. We have low density structures, nice and simple, quite pretty design. It is actually the Vulcanus design. So if I go to Vulcanus and just zoom in here, I think it's here actually, you can see we've just taken some of that design here and we've just bung it basically there. But again, we're making so much things, it's just very, very sort of, it's a wonderful thing. It's really working. You'll notice the beginnings of an elevated rail. Ooh, look at that. Now, elevated rails are difficult. So let me show you the new blueprint book. Come get it. Join the Discord. You'll see with the elevated rail section I wanted to do, it's never going to fit. Even if I'd have built this before, it's problematic. So you see there, it's just difficult. So I think we're going to scrap that one and we're going to go with an elevated rail that sits within some of the cells, and we'll probably have it like 1, 2 and 3. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll do like only certain ones of them have an elevated rail. I'm also going to probably do an elevated rail all the way around the edge of the base as well. So I've not forgotten that design commitment. We will continue on. As you can see, I also am a big fan of showing the original Gleba through some of the area. So here where we're making jelly, oh, I've just realized that's in the wrong place. There we go. Oh, OCD is triggered. There we go. So it's quite nice. I mean, again, numbering machines does help because then in a sort of instant you can see which one is struggling. And we've incorporated now the nutrient machine into the machine. So that's just one blueprint. So you can basically copy paste that down. Jelly, what they called? Jelly stem farms 1 and 2. Nothing really to talk about there. We have then basic red production here. Not particularly happy with this. This is going to take a bit of, we're going to do some work on this one, just keep that going. And I think that's then our carbon base. So again, we're delivering spoilage. Spoilage is then burnt and turned into carbon, and then we have effectively infinite carbon. I haven't turned that into coal yet. That's probably the one thing we're going to do here, is we'll actually create coal, because I need to make explosives, because I want to make railgun rounds on this planet. So here we go, we have our green chips. This again, I thought I'd need 2 of these, but so far I've not actually run out of green chips on anything. That might just be that we're not doing anything in anger, but so far so good. Our copper plant, obviously this is rather nice. I will go around and actually do a blueprint of each of these cells. So again, if you want to try and recreate any of this nonsense, then you're more than welcome to. I think it's kind of working. Oh, hang on, we have an issue. Do we have an issue? No, I don't think we do actually. Plastic production, again, we're destroying anything. Well, we're trying to destroy. Plastic takes so long to destroy. Just realised they're not working. Plastic takes so long to destroy that it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't really want to destroy stuff, but I think it's the best thing to do because you have infinite resources. So just keep growing things. This needs a bit more help. I think there's not enough... what do they call this? This is the Yamako plant. So we might look to do another Yamako. I think actually we're going to repurpose this old base here and maybe have another cell somewhere here or here that actually can just replicate this. So we'll probably have another plant there. Now, the crowning glory of my build is the pentapod egg production. This has been a thorn in my side all the way through. And I'll explain why, because pentapods have just been something that I've had to accept, that you have a load of laser turrets, and when you build enough of them, basically they hatch, and you end up basically getting attacked. So in your own base, you're literally being attacked by flipping pentapods. And I think after a while, I just accepted that that's kind of how it is. And I think now that things have moved on a bit, I'm actually quite pleased that we have a system that works quite well. So let me walk you through it. So we have effectively nutrient machine here, nothing new there, but we have our pentapod production here, actually taking those nutrients, and it's like a cycle. So here we have output that then goes round again the pentapod machines as input. So the outputs are then turned into inputs, and then anything that's spare is then sent forward into the agricultural science production. Just simply adding some bioflux. Again, it kind of works, bioflux, just with a trash unrequested. And, bish bash bosh, we have effectively science production that's really quick and actually it's producing pretty fast, in fact. If I go to our production here, and you can see it's been running an awful long time, so pre-messing with it, post-messing with it, and you can see that's pretty good. And it's keeping a buffer of something like, I want to say 8,000, I could be wrong, and it's then burning anything that obviously goes off. And using this priority spoiled first, it means then it takes, well, it doesn't really matter anyway, but this one particularly, that spoiled first, not for this but for everything else, has been very useful. And then anything else is destroyed. And again, it feels so wrong, but it's so right. As you can see, a little bit of flair again, trying to keep everything beautiful. The only thing I have left to do, really, in terms of the old base, and this literally represents the old base here, is the oversoil. So currently, I got so fed up of biter egg production, or rather imports, that I've stopped it for a while. Mostly because I don't really think I need to do too much more. There's a little bit more oversoil to do, but I'm not going to rush to do it because I think I've had enough of oversoil and that. But I think we'll start that. We'll probably create a ship specifically for it, and that way I think it will probably be a bit better. Yamato mash production, again, nice little machines looking beautiful. It just is great. And then we have here some silicon production and so on. Now, do we have an issue? I don't think we do. I think that's supposed to be like that. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's supposed to be like that. Spoilage is delivered. Yeah, I'm hesitant now because I'm always double check. So no, we do have a problem. Look, knew it. I knew something was wrong. So with our train here, we probably need to set it not to be empty cargo. It needs to say item count bioflux equals 0. Or, there we go. I think this is going to be an issue because this probably not going to work because it's also stalled. So why is that stalled? I think it's because... Oh my days, you can see the fun we... it's because we... Right, okay, so our normal nutrient machine, let me just go to one and show you, is actually having bioflux delivered. So I think we're going to go back to those heady days and we're going to put bioflux back in there. Just realised that that's probably wrong. So let's just set that round. And let's see if this kickstarts. I mean, you can see the sort of pleasure and wonderful fun bit of Gleba is that stuff goes off and jams everything and you don't always know. So this is why I am quite dead set, and I'll show you what my thought process was. So here we're just going to have a very simple circuit that just reads the whole belt, okay? And here it will basically say, you know, I don't know, if spoilage. So here it should, I mean, spoilage is on this belt, so this is going to be slightly problematic. So maybe we say if bioflux is equals 0, then basically, and I'll just turn that off because that's annoying. And we can do one here to say, what are we making here? We're making sulfur. So there we go. So that's kind of the thinking here, because that shouldn't be doing this. But we have no way to self-clean this one because bioflux, or rather spoilage, is actually part of the recipe. So, yeah, I don't know. I think we might have to put a burning machine here, actually. So I think let's just cut them out and let's just do this. It's not ideal. Oh, let's just do stack. I love stack inserters. I can't believe I haven't sort of used them more. But there we go. So... and again, it doesn't really work, so we have to sort of charge the machine. Oh, goodness. You can see the fun I've had with this flipping spoilage nonsense. Yeah, it's really fun. I love it. I absolutely love Gleba's spoilage. It's great. So there we go. So we've just... I mean, again, it's terrible, isn't it? That's literally what I'm having to do with some of these machines. This one particularly is a problem because it's got spoilage in it. You could actually set this to say, if there's more than, I don't know, 10, 20 units of spoilage, then sound an alarm, and that's great because that means then you can, I mean, let's just do that. Let's show you what I mean. So let's pick one that's a bit more of an easy loop. Maybe let's do maybe yeah, maybe here. So we do, and let's just click read the belts, and all we're going to do is say if spoilage, and again bloody spoilage, if spoilage is, let's say, greater than, and you have to sort of put some values in because obviously you will have some spoilage being recycled, then this is kind of what we want to do. So spoilage, there we go. And I think that's probably what we're going to have to do across most of the machines, is just to keep them running. But as you can see, really love Gleba. It's such a great place. It's like every single time I run around, I find something. So what's happened now? Oh, is it just because it's full? So again, this is kind of why I think I've got to destroy some things. I think I have to sort of kill nutrient. Oh my goodness. Let's just do it. So let me show you my process. So here we're going to just set up some... Now I'm running out of recyclers. I cannot believe it, but I am actually running out of recyclers. So let's just use what we have. We're going to have to do that. Right, and let's just then bung that in. So in theory, this now means because there's like a constant... It's like stagnant water, if you've ever dealt with stagnant water, which is the most random thing I've said today. But stagnant water, obviously, if it's not flowing, goes off. And that's why you have to think of this like a river. It has to flow so that it doesn't go off. I don't know if any of that is true, but it feels right. And I think that's kind of what I want to try and do with this. So I think it kind of works, but it doesn't. And there's always one machine that just stops working, but there we go. Everything else seems to be pretty good. So there we go. That is Gleba. I think it's close to being done. The other planets are really struggling now. So if I go to Aquilo, this thing had completely stopped working, and it was really interesting because I couldn't fix it with any bot because everything ran out of power, and I had to basically go and fix these fusion reactors. It was a pretty painful thing, and it really kind of made me realize that there's so much left to do on the other planets. And I think, you know, I'm so close, tantalizingly close to being done on Gleba, but I do, and I think these, look, I mean, these literally represent the last things. Let's just see. Yeah, I think that's it. So that pretty much completes our little structure there. We then have to finish the wall, but really that's kind of it. So I think we're pretty close to, I think, Gleba being done, but there we go. There is obviously potential nightmare scenario out in the distance as well, because we could start to see that, yep, that looks to be a problem. I think we're starting to see that we're going to have some fun times with these little fellas, but I think we're going to... Oh, I've never seen that one before. Look at that thing with so many eyes. That is nightmare fuel right there. Oh my God. But I've dated worse. But there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Our little kind of whistle-stop tour around Gleba. Post in the comments. If you like these blueprints, just come to the Discord and find some interesting, moderately amusing way to request them. You'll find them in the chat, so you don't have to say anything, don't worry. I usually post them every other day or something, but if not, just give us a thing to say, oh, have you got a latest blueprint, and I'll post them in. But yeah, otherwise, this is the base, and I am really enjoying this. I've got to admit, I mean, Volcanus was a joy. Look at how ordered and structured that is. It's just wonderful, and I'm even looking forward to using my legendary miners now. I've got about 20 or 30 of them. Resource drain of 9%. It's got to be worth it. Nauvis is looking pretty good. Oh, what was that? I thought I saw a biter. Nauvis is looking pretty good. We've pretty much secured the island, but I think we're looking pretty solid there as well. But Nauvis, I think, needs some love, because we still have an awful lot of empty squares. And I think we should do things like solar power, maybe a giant, like we've done it here, a giant kind of accumulator storage as well. But so far, I think Gleba has come really well. And it really then becomes a toss-up between, do we do Fulgora next? I love Fulgora. Can't wait to do Fulgora. My vision for Fulgora is basically not independent, connected single power grid, but connected through a beautiful elevated train network. If I think of the things that I'm still a little weak on, elevated trains has got to be one. I'm not very good at them yet. And I think this could be a wonderful way to do that. A massive sort of mega base from pillar to pillar. Oh my God, that'd be exciting. And we'll probably leave Aquilo till the end, but Aquilo probably is the one that ironically needs the most love, because all of the resources are running dry. So the oil, the lithium spout, or whatever that is, it's running low. So it could be that maybe we return to there. But post in the comments, let me know your thoughts. What should be next? Let me know if anything here has sparked your interest, and I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll see you next time.